How vividly do you remember your last victory in the UFC?
One of my favorite moments in that fight was when I got into mount and there was very little time left, and I heard John screaming 20 seconds, shots and armbar. It's one of the first times I've ever felt like it was like a video game, you know? I'm not sure what I would have done, but I heard it clearly, and it was like he pressed a button. Boom, that's what happened.
And you can hear them as well. And that's the point of the elbow and the armbar. Oh, and that's it. That's got to be it. Gunnar Nelson by first round submission. You've heard that before. Wow. Gunnar Nelson with another huge moment at the O2.
So where in the world am I talking to you?
I'm in Zagreb,
In
Croatia.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll get on to that. First things first, how's your dad? I miss not seeing your dad, coming over to Iceland and seeing you guys together. How's he doing?
He's good, he's good. Well, it's getting closer to the fight, so he's getting stressed. You know how it is. Every time the same. Never changes.
Oh dear. Well, you clearly didn't get the gene from your dad then, because I don't really see you getting very stressed.
Well, I guess it's a little bit different when you go in there yourself or
Yeah.
it's your child. I might feel the same if it was my son.
Yeah. Well, about that, was it 3 kids now?
Yeah, three
3
kids.
kids. How are they?
Good, very good. They grow up fast.
Tell me about it. Mine's
Yeah.
coming up on 7 now, and it's just happened in a click of the fingers.
I know, I know. When I look at pictures, old pictures, it's like it feels like it was yesterday and it was 5 years ago, you know?
You're obviously enjoying the process though.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, very much so.
3 kids. I struggle with one, truth be told, mate. So
Yeah.
I don't know how you're managing with 3.
Yeah. It you know, you just get used to it like everything else.
Yeah,
But
I
it's
guess they say it takes a village to grow a child, doesn't it? So
yeah.
I would imagine that your family are very much involved in that.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah. I'm very lucky with the support of everybody around us and my family, my parents, her parents, and yeah, it's couldn't be better, to be
Okay,
honest.
congratulations and all of that. Fantastic stuff.
Mhm.
Now, I used to see you a lot. I used to be lucky enough to come out to Iceland and I'd see you
Mhm.
around the circuit as well. Now, what is it? I'm going to look at my notes here. We've seen you twice in 3 years. Now, I'm sure there's a shortened version of why that might be. So if you can just enlighten us, because the fans are starving of a little bit of
Mhm.
Gunnar Nelson action.
Yeah. Well, it's much of like the same story as last time. I'm just been focusing on other things than myself, focusing on coaching and yeah, it's just well, I was trying to get a fight in December, not that that's much difference, but you know, I was trying to get on a little bit earlier than we did, but here we are, and yeah, that's the main reason. Just you're just focusing on everything else than your own career, you know.
So have you been healthy or is it literally just been coaching and
Yeah, yeah.
fatherhood?
For the most part, I mean, I've been fighting for almost 20 years, so I'm as healthy as you can be.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I know as a weekend warrior myself how
Yeah,
difficult it is to turn up a few times a week, let alone 2 or 3 times a day. So I
yeah.
can sympathise. Well, how
How was
is
the mother's milk? Is it still going good? Are you still rocking that?
I can just about get the mother's milk in there. I've put on a little
Yeah.
timber since you last saw me, Gunnar, so that makes it a bit easier because I almost have like man boobs to get this
Yeah,
mother choke in.
yeah.
But I'm no specialist. Yeah, but I'm still trying, and I think that's the main thing, right? Still
Yeah,
trying.
that's it.
Um, have have you been satisfied then? I think it's very difficult. How do I frame this up for you fighters? you experience something very unique on fight night, and it's clearly something very addictive because we see a lot of combat sports athletes struggle to move away.
Hmm.
But it sounds like you've potentially had the opportunity to experience that. However, you've chosen other directions. So what is it about these other things that you're doing that's kind of filling up that cup?
Well, you just change with the years, and you start focus, like your emphasis and your inspiration becomes different, and I take a lot of inspiration in training and seeing others succeed now more than myself. However, one of the reasons why I still fight is that exact reason, is that to inspire my team and to inspire the people around me also, and whereas before that wasn't really uh, a big inspiration point for me, and not like it's always there, you always fight for your team, and that's important to you, but now it's more like I said last time, I've been talking about this for some years. I feel like I'm more of a coach now than anything else.
What is it that you like about being a coach?
Um, it's seeing others do what I was doing, seeing them learning, seeing when they move or something clicks for them, seeing them uh, super happy after a session where something that they've been working on actually worked in a real situation, in sparring or in rolling or in whatever. Um, Going with them and competing and feeling that energy with them, and then being part of that when they come out, whether they win or lose. Obviously, you always want your guys to win, but to teach them also how to embrace those moments that are maybe a bit tougher, but also to enjoy those moments when they come out and they're high as the sky, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Aside from gaining motivation from their journeys and maybe success and shortcomings, what have you gotten from this coaching journey that you feel might be helping your own journey as a professional fighter?
um well, I don't know how much you've coached yourself, but the everyone that I know that used to be an athlete or are still athletes and coach, it helps yourself to it helps you also break down things, because when you start trying to teach stuff and trying to show show what you do, maybe, or you start breaking it down yourself, so you might realize that sometimes you don't know as much about what you do as you think.
Yeah,
You
it's
you
really
know what to
interesting.
do and you can do it, but can you explain it? Not all the time. When you start
Yeah.
breaking it down, it actually starts opening more windows. And then when you have a good group of coaches uh, that have been athletes themselves or still are, you start doing that together and you start synchronizing, and then you start creating a whole network of things that you can test out and play with and turn into your own, which is one of the more fun parts of martial arts, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. Why do you think and I know you're going to struggle to answer this, but why do you think you've become a good coach? What is it about your style or your character that is obviously doing something for these other men and women that are coming up?
I think this would be one of the reasons, is I do like to break things down, and I do, and I'm not big on fantasy, although I do encourage my boys and or girls, to the people that I train with, to be creative and never to lose that. However, if you get too much into fantasy and stuff, there's a lot of stuff out there that it's not going to work under high pressure.
Right.
So, and I know high pressure, and I've been there for a long time, in a lot of different situations, a lot of different competitions and stuff. So, I think that one of the qualities I have is that I know and I can create that environment quite easily in training. I've memorized it over and over again. It's something I've done so when I train, I try to feel that pressure and try to be very skeptical but open at the same time with the things that I do, and you have to be honest with yourself as well. So when I'm teaching, I try to reflect that on my students, as well as learning that it's very different with different individuals. You have to some you might want to have you might teach a move, but it's completely different how you teach it to person A and person B. You
Okay,
know, first person A, you can say like do this and that, and then to person B, you have to say something totally different for them to get it. But you're teaching the exact same thing.
right.
So that's a really important skill, I feel like, and that's a skill that my coach John Cavanaugh has, and that's something I would have tried to copy from him, or looked up to him in that regard. Of he is very good with individuals.
What are the, I think it's becoming probably a little bit more challenging for coaches these days because there's so much more information out there. When I know your journey where you had to literally cross the seas to seek out a black belt to teach you stuff. Now, on Monday night when I was on the mats, we had 5 black belts, which is unheard of 15 years ago.
Yeah.
But also now we have the onset of social media, and I think my feed is full of people showing various setups for, particularly with grappling, but in MMA as well. What are the kind of trends that you're seeing that you're enjoying or dispelling to some of your students?
Trends? You mean like
Yeah.
online stuff that you see? And
Well, maybe because I'm sure your students are bringing certain things to you, particularly for MMA, because jiu-jitsu and MMA, for the uninitiated, they might seem like they're one of the same, but they're very different. You probably don't want to invert and go for a leg in an MMA fight necessarily if
no.
you can get drilled in the face with a 4-ounce glove.
Well, so if I can go back to what I was saying before, the creativity is very important.
Mm,
However, I like to all I cannot teach you creativity. That's not something I can teach. However, I can create an environment where you can be creative, right? So you do that on your own. So this is something I can do. But however, my focus on coaching is purely fundamental.
okay.
So we do go over when you want to go over certain moves and certain things that happen that might be a little bit outside fundamentals, in terms of like details of slight details of grips or movement, or just movement for certain individuals, because everybody moves different, right? So absolutely we tackle those challenges, but the main focus is on the fundamentals and the stuff that pretty much everybody does. What is it that makes certain things work? How can we implement them ourselves? Kind of a lot of things that you see, like when you're watching fights, you don't see a lot of the pressure or what is really happening. And for let's take me for an example. uh, Maybe later you're going to ask me what is the plan for this fight, and you know the plan for this fight. You've watched my fights many times, you know exactly what I'm going to do, and everybody else does. How I do it, however, it might seem very just the same thing to a lot of people, but the people that know and the people that maybe have been a little bit more around me or around this game, they see some things that I do differently every single time, because not everybody is the same. I'm constantly adding stuff to my arsenal. So what I'm getting to here is there's a lot of invisible stuff happening, stuff that's hard to see, the pressure that you can only feel when you're in there. the energy and stuff like that. But it's not something supernatural or anything like that. It's just a way of like making moves work. What makes them really tick, and what makes them tick for you then, and you have to find that. We have to find that together. You know what I mean? Like so. Um, this is the stuff we try to crack a lot of times when we're training, and the stuff that I don't bother my students with everything that I think and that I'm, of course, because that I don't. I think the simpler things can be for you as a fighter, the better. The better it's
Right.
going to be when you go in there and you're not thinking too much. Uh, it's simple for you. It'll be easy to pull off.
Have you got a couple of success stories that you can share with us for your overall team or a couple of individuals?
Um, what do you mean, like in fights or in?
Yeah. I guess we're talking a lot about a lot of the amateur movement, maybe with the IMFs. I know that there are
Yeah,
teams
well,
there. So
just before I arrived in Croatia, we went to Scotland, and I had four of my guys on there, fighting amateur. One fought for a belt, an amateur belt. Very successful night for us. All of our guys won. Um, we had two finishes and two decisions, so very happy with that. And in that, like that night, I saw a ton of improvement, and not just like I know what the guys can do, but to be able to do it in there is different. You can do something, but can you do it under that pressure? Is it has it stuck that close to you that you can do it in these high intense moments?
mm,
I was super proud to see how our work has where our work has gotten us, our team.
that's great stuff. Now, if I remember correctly, when I was last over in Iceland, I think it was something close to 10% of the population of Reykjavik trained at Mjolnir. Is that still like the current trend? Have you expanded that, or are people losing interest? Or is it
uh no, we still have good numbers. We have, I think, maybe around 1300-1400 people in our gym.
right? It's a lot of
So,
people. That's a
yeah,
lot
it's
of
quite a
people.
few.
I like it. Whole load of Vikings ready to take on the world.
Mhm.
So, how much have you missed this? We're coming up to fight week. I mean, I know camp can sometimes be miserable, but you're probably thinking about getting your arm raised. How much have you missed that feeling?
Yeah, it's a great feeling. It's a very good feeling, and to be honest, I look forward to that moment where it's are you ready? Are you ready? We walk to the middle, shake hands, and it's go time. That's what I look forward to.
Why that moment specifically?
I don't know. I just always we actually talked about this maybe last time or the time before when you're in the cage, and I think it was Bisping who said like he hates that moment. Once he gets fighting, he's fine, but I couldn't have disagreed more. I'm like that moment is like what you've been waiting for. That's like for me anyway. I you know me. I'm not very. I don't go there to talk a lot of shit and to do a lot of the stuff that's I don't mind doing interviews and I enjoy talking to people, yes, and about interesting stuff. But a lot of it is repetition of things that just it's how do you feel about your opponent? How do you
Yeah,
do this and that and this and that? And it's just like boop, 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 boop. It's been years,
yeah,
many
I get it.
years. So it's always the same thing. But when you get in there, it's always something new, and that's what you train for, and that's the
Okay.
exciting part, and that's the so that moment, and of course, the feeling afterwards, especially when you win, is a great feeling.
I guess it's the absolute peak of the anticipation when you touch gloves because you are anticipating the action right now. Guess, 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 guess. And
Yeah,
some people might say like anticipation anxiety, but of course you guys, it's that, but in a more positive way. And I don't perhaps have the words to describe it. But I'm just thinking that is literally the point at which you don't know who's going to make the first move. If you've touched gloves, it's like, right, who goes first? Literally, it's the sharp end there, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, and that's it's like a release for me. Really, it's like okay, now we just work.
Right, dial in. Love it.
Hmm.
How vividly do you remember your last victory in the UFC?
Yeah, quite well, quite well. It was a good one. It was um, it was a great fight, like for me, and not a lot of mistakes made on my part. It was quite one-sided. It was, but there were some fun moments. Like one of my favorite moments in that fight was when I got into mount and there was very little time left, and I heard John screaming, "20 seconds, shots and armbar," and it's one of the first times I've ever felt like it was like a video game, you know? I'm not sure what I would have done, but I heard it clearly, and it was like he pressed a button. Boom, that's what happened.
Oh, I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Because it's from a technical point of view, mount to armbar, if you have a lot of time on the clock, is probably not one of the what maybe for you because you're a bit of a different level of grappler, MMA grappler, but not there's a risk, isn't there, to go from mount to try and take an armbar. If you don't land that submission, you could be on the wrong side of the position pretty badly.
Yeah, absolutely. But in this case, there's very little time left in the round, so that's why he calls it.
Yeah, and that's why you got it done. In the normal conversations that I have with athletes will be there's momentum, with fighters you try and fight 3 times a year, maybe four if you're super lucky, and if you get those win streaks then you strive forward in your career and you're more frequently in the eyes of the fans. But it
Hmm.
sounds like there's been a considered, well, there's just other things going on. Do you even think about momentum and what that might do for your next contract or the next fight that's coming up?
Yeah, sometimes. I just try to do thing. I've been in this game for a long time now, and I try to do things kind of on my terms as well. There's more things that I want to do than just fight in this
Mm,
life, and uh, and like I said before, there's many things that I concentrate on, and myself would not be at the top of the list if that makes sense.
okay.
Um, and you, I'm sure you know yourself. You have a kid, and things like that. There are things that change when you get a bit older. For me, anyway. So I don't know. I kind of like it like this. However, you you never know. Maybe it's also like I have to go away. I cannot really stay at home. It's very hard for me to camp there. I have to bring a lot of guys over and set them up, and it's been kind of tough. I've tried that a few times, and it's usually, well, every time I have to go away for some time. Uh, So if I'd fight 3 times a year, I wouldn't spend much time home, would I?
Okay.
But yeah.
So
So
clearly
there's-
family first.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, you can't disagree with that. What about golf? I've seen some of the socials. You're getting your golf swing going as well. Is that a game that you've
All
taken
right.
to?
Yeah, that's a new hobby of mine. I used to have a bit more action-based hobbies, like riding dirt bikes and snowmobiles and stuff.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
um, as I got a bit older and more mature, or just old. I started I started golfing, and I wasn't when I like I'd been introduced to golf before. One of my best friends is a really good golfer, and we've known each other for a long time, and he was always trying to get me on the course, and then one day he was able get me on the course, and yeah, he got me. He basically got me there and then, and
Oh,
it's
really?
super addictive. Do you play?
No, it's funny you should ask the question because my wife is trying to get me to play golf. Now, I
Mhm.
don't know why she's doing this because she knows from her dad, it was his hobby, that if a man goes to golf, he's probably out for the best part of the day. Now, I
Yeah.
travel a lot, so I'm now trying to think, why is she trying to get me to give up combat sports training to take up golf when I'm already away a lot? So maybe there's someone else that I need to think about in this, Gunny. I'm not sure. Maybe I need to have some some pretty serious conversations with Mrs. Gooden. But yeah, I don't mean to be offensive, but still at this stage, and this is my terrible ego at play. If I can't sweat and bleed, I'm just not that interested anymore. I need to just.
Yeah.
I need, but I haven't got the black belt and a fight record, so I'm still trying to get these little wins
Yeah,
along
yeah.
the way.
You're still getting that stuff out of your system. That's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, golf is something you can take up whenever. So
yeah.
it's
Well,
if you so wish to, and
yeah.
yeah.
So are there good golf courses out in Iceland?
Yeah, there's a few
Okay,
nice ones. There's a few nice ones. Obviously, golf in Iceland it's tough because you can only play for about 3 months in a year, and then you're
right.
playing inside. Um, However, when it's nice, it's really nice,
Okay.
and I mean, you've been there, and the nature there is beautiful.
Absolutely.
So,
Wonderful. I'd recommend anyone to go
mm,
to Iceland. Took my dad there for his 60th birthday. So that's how much I valued
mm.
the overall Iceland appeal. So it looks like we should be getting some sort of golf tournament going. You've got DC, Ian Gary's a big golfer, Justin Gaethje, now your good
Yeah,
self,
yeah, yeah. I've
there's
seen
something
that.
there.
I've seen that. Yeah,
Yeah. I'll have
I
to have a
mean,
word with some of the top brass. There's a lot of money in
yeah, yeah, yeah.
golf, Gunny. Do you know what I mean? Get some good sponsors on board. We can have ourselves a little charity game.
All right.
I like it. I like it.
Mm.
Well, you kind of mentioned it. You're away from home right now, over in Croatia. I think I know why you're there, but let us in on what's taken you from Iceland to American top team Europe.
Yeah. So my connection to here is my striking coach Luka Jelcic, who you met a
Yeah.
few times. Um, and he lived in Iceland for what was it, 7 years or something, for a long time, and he was our head coach in our MMA team for a long time. Recently moved back to Croatia. He's from here, and so yeah, so he the team here has been building up quite quite a team, if I can say so myself, and so I really I was gonna come here to stay for some time and then maybe go to Dublin to train with John. But when I got here, I decided to stay because also like less travel and stuff like that. But also I have fantastic partners here. I have Luca to oversee everything, and then I brought in also traveling with me is my wrestling coach Matthew Miller. So
Yep.
he's been with me here the whole time. So I felt like I had pretty much everything I need, apart from John Kavanagh, who will of course still be in my corner as
Great.
always. But when it comes to him, we can kind of send some stuff over, and we've always worked well together from a distance, also. So that's not been a problem. But I miss him. However, it's we don't see each other as much as I would have liked. We're really, really, really good friends, and so that was the downside. But here in ATT Europe, it's been phenomenal, and I really enjoy training here. I really like the vibe. The guys are great. Everyone has been very welcoming. The training is very good. We got some really good people here on the mats, and a lot of up and comers that we're gonna be we're gonna be seeing in the UFC very soon. Some are already in, like
Ivan
Ivan
Aslan. Yep.
Aslan. Yeah, he's in the UFC now as well. But there's a lot of young up and comers that I look forward to seeing in the near future. They're gonna do they're gonna do some fantastic things.
Yeah, I was looking at some of the footage, some of the photos, and I know that you've got a slightly bassy stance, but it looked like you were looking up at this giant of a man. I was like, who is that guy? Looked at him. He's actually a welterweight as well. I think he's like 7-0. Looks like he's been one of your main sparring partners. But yes, I'm really enjoying and excited to see like a swell of talent coming out of different regions. I know they're well
Hmm.
supported with different promotions around there as well. They're really doing a good job to harness and develop this talent. So hopefully we've got a new wave of guys to get excited about that can make that jump into the UFC soon.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So how long have you been over there for?
Um, it's been over a month. I think like 5, 6 weeks, something like that.
Okay. And probably shouldn't ask this question, but I will. Coping okay, being away from home, because it's obviously been a little while since you've had to do this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, I always miss home, but when I'm here, I'm here,
Yeah,
and so and I enjoy it. I embrace it. I love it. I love everything about it, and I try to focus on what I'm doing, and I'm pretty good at that. However, I am leaving my folks back home, and I'm aware of that. But
mm,
when I'm here, I'm here.
yeah. Daddy's got to do what Daddy's got to do. We've got a big date coming up as well. I
Hmm.
like this matchmaking. I
Hmm.
really do. So it's like name value. Both you guys have made a real impression on the division or on the divisions, if you will, with Kevin as
Hmm.
well. But what do you make of Kevin's journey and perhaps sort of his most recent form?
Yeah, Kevin is a very exciting fighter. I like his energy, like the way he fights. He's always exciting when you know Kevin is fighting. You usually tune in and you like to see it because he's got some good energy, and like he's out there, and he does a lot of stuff, and he can do everything, and he comes to fight, and he enjoys it.
Yeah.
You can see that.
Yeah, clearly. I mean, he's just, in a little bit of a contrast to your recent form, and that you've maybe not been in front of us too much. He's there what feels like every other month. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's an interesting element coming into this one. Now, you're probably going to laugh at me for this, but I have seen it on my travels. He talks a lot during the fight, and I have been in gyms where people have literally had hecklers and guys shit talking them while they're training, etc. You do, however, or certainly are known for your stoicism. Is it something that you've had to take on board, knowing that Kevin might be chatting all kinds of nonsense to you during the 15 minutes or less?
Yeah, yeah, it's all good. It'll be fun. I mean, I'm not a big talker myself, but I'm certainly used to guys talking while training, and
Right.
I've trained with a lot of people through the years, and I'm
And
well
some
used to
pretty
that. And
talkative ones.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, and so I do enjoy it. It's fun. It makes it a little bit different. Like there's less people that do it than that don't. So
Yeah.
it's a bit of pepper, and I
Yeah.
enjoy it,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially when it's kind of interesting. We'll see if he's just smack talking the whole time. I'll probably just zone out and lose interest. But if he's talking fun, if he's smack talking is one thing, but a good smack talk and fun smack talk is fun, and
Yeah.
and I enjoy that.
Yeah, I think that, and if I may, Gunnar, because you are a private man, but sometimes if people that are a little bit closer to you will probably say that you are one of the funnier guys in the gym, but you're also not the guy to kind of engage in that stuff during mid fights because that's
No, yeah, well, if I'd say something like shit talking before the fights, a lot of times it's just cringe to me.
yeah, yeah,
It's just like there's just a bunch of blah 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 blah, and it kind of means nothing. Guys are just trying to find something to say. Half the time, and speaking with sometimes big emotions, but a lot of times now I think it's just created bullshit.
right,
And I get it's like, yeah, whatever. But in the fight, then it's a little bit more fun, I think.
yeah,
So I That's a bit, then it's just you and me, and then yeah, let's have a chat. If you want to
Yeah,
have a chat, let's have a chat. That's fine.
love that. He poses on paper a lot of dangers, but from your analytical viewpoint and of your coach's eye, if you will, what are the kind of things that Team Nelson has to look out for when they face Holland?
Yeah, he's tall, he's long, he's explosive, he's quite quick, and he's quite unorthodox with a lot of the stuff that he does. He's not your typical going from A to B to C. He might go from A straight to D, and does it quickly, and does it like in a different kind of way. So there's a lot of things that you have to kind of feel out when you get in there. You prepare as well as you can, and of course, as always, you get yourself ready for a battle the best
Yeah,
way you can. Um, and I've said this many times. You can prepare for somebody as well as you think, and of course, we do have strategies and this and that, like everybody, but however, and also a lot of times my opponents have changed last minute too. That's happened like
yeah,
quite
a bunch.
often for
Yeah,
me. So the main thing is getting yourself ready to do the stuff that you do well, and to add on it, and to build from that, and to create your own plan, and to have a few different ones, and then of course you see what he presents, and you get ready for that. That's it.
I am excited about potential grappling exchanges because we know that he's got a very dynamic style, and you burst onto the scene with kind of the grappling at the forefront, but obviously that karate style is now a signature of yours. Um, what about you though? Do you think we're going to see those aspects of the fight?
What aspects? The
The
grab.
the grappling aspects.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think I've had many fights where there's not been a grappling exchange. So there definitely will be. It's fighting, we'll definitely engage in the clinch at some point, and get a grappling exchange. Hopefully, that's to me. If that doesn't happen, it's a kickboxing fight.
Yeah, fair enough. If you get the job done, and this is just very much me, just like situational. You get the job done in 20 seconds. Is that a good night, given that you've been away for so long? Perhaps that's a silly thing to say, but
Yeah,
would you be satisfied?
of course, it's a good night. However, there's um there's a lot better feeling I find to get a good feel for somebody a little bit before the fight's over, and for the fans as well. You want to see guys fight a little bit. You want to see both guys fight. You don't want to see somebody get knocked out. Well, it's always spectacular,
Sure.
or somebody just taken down, fight's over. It's like, yeah, we didn't really get to see much. And but I'll take anything.
Of course, of course. How much do you enjoy competing in London as well? Because I know that the British fans and the London crowd will enjoy seeing you back.
Yeah, like I said before, I love it. They're loud. They have a lot of energy. They give it their all, as the fighters do. So yeah, I love it.
You got a plane full of Vikings coming over. I'll always remember. Is it the big clap that they do? Is that what? It's pretty intimidating when they get in
Yeah,
full
yeah,
song.
yeah. Woo. Yeah, well, we might see that. It always it has a lot of energy to it. We'll
Yeah,
see. But
yeah,
there should be a lot of people coming over.
yeah. Nice one. Okay. Um, I was out with the crew for Connor's last build up to his fight. I was actually there when he got injured as well. Bless him. What a
Mhm.
unfortunate situation. I mean, more than
Yeah.
unfortunate, right? But I saw all the band getting back together. It was nostalgic, but there was one man missing. Gotta say, I saw Owen there. The Doc was there. Obviously, John was there. Connor's at the forefront, but there was someone missing. I mean, do you ever
Mm,
get to tie up with Connor these days, or is it just the schedules don't work out?
No, I don't know. We speak together. We speak every now and then, and sometimes more frequent. But lately, not too much. But we always speak together here and there, you know. But I haven't met him in some years, you know.
Really?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Okay. Well,
But
life
I
life
mean, I
goes
know he
fast.
has a very busy schedule. I stay home more and less, and I mean, he's got a lot of stuff going on, you know, a lot
Yeah.
of all his businesses and all the stuff. I don't even know half of it, you know. But yeah, he stays busy.
Yeah, yeah. I look back on those years very fondly, though. Like coming up, the explosion of Irish mixed martial arts, and then your connection with Kavanagh. Obviously, I'm very privileged to have been around the region seeing it happen. So yeah, they're good memories seeing you guys all vibing. And I think that first visit that I had to the old gym where you and Connor were both in camp, and it was one of I think it might have been like the second or third fight for Connor, and yeah, really, really special memories. So.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's good to bring those back to the fore. Before we land the plane, as they say, I was just thinking, Fight Pass Invitational now, the professional grappling, it's something that the UFC are really investing in heavily. Do you think they'll
Hmm.
ever tempt you over there? Is it in mixing it up with your professional MMA?
Yeah, maybe we'll see. We'll see what I always had it in my mind that when I retired from MMA, I might do a few grappling matches, you know, and but doing them in between maybe is an option as well. We'll see. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it too much, but it's I always enjoyed competing in
Yeah,
grappling. Also, it was a lot of fun. It's been a good while now. It'll probably just feel nostalgic for me to go and do that again.
yeah, yeah. What does the future look like then? You come away with the results next week or this week, whenever you're listening to this conversation. What's 2025 and a little bit beyond that looking like?
Um, Short answer would be I'm not sure, but well, I guess we'll take it from there. You know, we'll see what the next kind of week. I know what I'm doing the week after, the
Oh, what
weekend
are you doing the
after.
week after?
Yeah, the weekend after, I'm going straight back to London to coach my boys. I have like 4 or 5 guys fighting on the golden ticket.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Another one. Yeah.
Mhm.
Very good. All
Yeah.
right. Right, straight
So
back in.
straight back in, but for myself, I'm not sure. Maybe we'll have a quick turnaround. Maybe we'll see. You know, I like to take things on the go, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
What about a little end of year dance with the rest of the guys at the Molyneux gym? They've been missing for a while, Goody. They used to set the world alight. Like, what's happening?
Yeah, I don't know. We've had like there's been a few ideas, we've actually almost I think created one video, like everything but just to shoot it, and we've just haven't pulled the trigger on it yet. And there's been other things that have just taken everyone's focus. But you're absolutely right. We gotta get our game face on when it
Yeah.
comes to these videos, and get another video out there. You know.
It's all about the execution. We can think about these things all day long.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And that's yeah,
No, that would be good. That would be a lot of fun. Always good to catch up, my friend. I'm looking forward to
likewise.
getting into fight week as well, seeing you and the rest of the crew. Enjoy what's left of camp, and I've got the best seats in the house to watch you guys do work. So I will
Of
see you
course.
then.
All right. See you then, John.